live audience today.
I love it.
We started this podcast of Housing for Good because I've been in the mortgage business for 25 years, and I keep running into these real estate agents that have just exploded and transcended real estate and just doing great things in our community.
I love it.
And so I talked to Lisa, and she says, we're going to start interviewing them. I'm like, well, who should we have on the show? And everyone's like, you got to talk to Blair.
Aww.
I was like, Blair won't come on my show. She has her own show.
Are you kidding? I love it.
So,
I love everything you do. I love being around people who really care about the community first. And you have always done that. I remember the first time I saw you, you spoke at a women's council meeting, and we're talking about everything that was developing here and coming here. And
you were at that meeting.
I was.
Wow.
It was so interesting to me to realize how important it is to know what's your community's future is.
Yeah. Well, that's why we started that project, was there was so much happening and we weren't talking about it. We're talking about the here and now.
Yeah.
And 2 or 3 years from now, that's going to be completely different. And even, that was 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And 2 or 3 years from now, it's going to be completely different.
I mean, look how quick and how much we're growing. It's insane. And you were actually the first person that I learned about Caterpillar coming here. Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
So how long have you been in real estate altogether?
So this will be going on to my 4th year.
Oh my
so I'm a
gosh.
solid 3 years.
Made Rookie of the Year right off the bat.
I did do now it's Rising Star.
Yeah.
So usually when I have like a goal in mind, I'll just focus on it so much.
I don't see that.
No?
I don't see that. I see you as just being all over the place. Not really motivated or driven or anything like that. Just whatever happens.
Yeah, sometimes.
What did you do before real estate?
Full-time mom. So, I dabbled. I never stood still. So, I dabbled into, workman's comp, payroll, ran a company for my dad. And I've always been couldn't sit still. Yeah. So, and then I was also a morning radio host before kids.
You were,
I was.
Where, in Tucson or?
In San Luis Obispo.
Really?
96.1. It's a funny story.
Give me your morning spiel.
Oh,
Welcome
gosh.
to 96.1.
It was welcome to 96.1. Well, this is the funny story. I was cocktailing in Mr. Rick's in San Luis Obispo. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's this little bar on a beach town.
I'm going now.
Yeah, it's so fun. And a Little Mermaid and Martini. And I was sitting there and I was, asked this guy what his order was, and he stopped me and looks at me and he's like, I really like your voice. I'm just thinking, weirdo,
Sure.
Okay, whatever, maybe he'll give me a good tip. And he goes, give me a commercial in 30 seconds. And I'm just looking at this guy thinking, what? Okay. So yeah. I think we had martinis 2 for $2 special. And so I'm looking at this guy, I'm going, okay, welcome to Monday nights. You get 2 for $2, martinis and blah, blah, blah. And I just did this whole commercial. He looks at me, he slips me this card and he goes, I'm the president of Clear Channel. And we're
Holy smokes.
Yeah, we're looking for a female voice to come on to the M&M show. Be here tomorrow at 8:30. And I'm just going, me, okay.
How old are you at this time?
I was 21.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So then I come on the show in the morning and they're doing all these weird prank call things and, everything's, over the air. And I was like, okay. And they just pushed me. Yeah, they pushed me right in. And I was all of a sudden this host with these 2 guys. And then the next week, one of the main guys got this opportunity to be in Louisiana, and so all of a sudden then I was the main host. So after a week of radio experience,
wow.
I was the female voice. So
how long did you do that then?
I did it for about 2 years. Yeah.
So he did have a good tip for you. Come work for the radio.
He did. Little did I know I was an intern, so the first year I wasn't getting
there's
paid.
the catch there.
But then I started doing commercials, and that's where I started getting money from that, was to, selling airtime.
Okay.
So sales has always been in my blood.
So then, quickly, how did you get from there to Tucson? Like, what's that story?
Oh, my husband.
Those husbands.
The husbands.
Robbie.
Yeah, Robbie. So my husband and I have known each other since preschool, which is crazy. We did not date. We did not, even really like each other. It was more of that our families all knew each other and they would always bring our names up to each other. So after college, when I was doing the radio thing, I was living my whole, fun life. And my dad looked at me and said, okay, it's time for you to grow up. You need to move home and get a real job. And I'm like, I have 5 jobs.
And 4 interns and a waitress.
I was a waitress. I was a dog groomer. I was on the morning show. I mean, bartending. I have always been just someone who works. Don't like to really be told no, and I don't want to depend on anybody. So I was working from like 4 a.m. to 2 a.m. So I would literally only sleep between these jobs. It was a lot. Jeez. So when I moved home, I walked into this produce company, and I see my my soon-to-be husband sitting there, and he was going to be my interviewer. And I'm like, oh, I got this in the bag. I got this in the bag. So I started working for his produce company and kind of just was like, yep, I think I'm going to marry this guy. And did. And then he moved me to Nogales. Wow. So I went from California to Nogales. And Rio Rico, we lived in Rio Rico. And I was just in shock because I didn't know where I was. And I always try to make everything... why am I here? What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? Mm-hmm. Not only do I want to support my husband and be a good wife, but I knew there was something more for me too. Sure. So I would just go out and kind of meet everybody, even though I didn't know Spanish very well. I tried and just started realizing I love the community. And then after that, we moved to kind of kept getting closer. Tubac, then Sahuarita, and...
Did you learn Spanish or
I took 4 years of Spanish, so I can understand it, but I mean, I'm not even going to attempt to really speak it.
Understood. Yeah. I people ask me after living in Arizona for so long, do you speak Spanish? I'm like, I should.
Yeah.
I should. Like every year I'm thinking, I should learn how to speak Spanish, but now it's been like 30 years. I'm like,
I know.
I don't think I'm going to learn to speak Spanish.
I know. I even do the app too, that just every day kind of learning new words.
Oh, I should probably even start that.
It's just kind of fun just to try to be able to pick up, especially being here and having so many clients that are Spanish speaking. So I just think it's important to make sure that you are, just an easy access availability for people of every different.
So you get into real estate and you struggle for a while because you're really shy, introverted, you don't like to talk to people.
Yeah.
And you don't set goals, you're not motivated. So
Yeah.
you struggle and then somehow eke out Rising Star Award for your first year and go on to just tremendous sales. I mean,
oh, thank you.
From a real estate perspective, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, you've just been 4 years. That's really impressive.
Technically, August is my 3rd solid year, so I'll be going into my 4th year. But
So she started in the COVID year.
I did. I started and got my license right before COVID happened. And during COVID, David, my best friend, and I were like 6 weeks, take this test, let's go. There was never a doubt in my mind that this wasn't going to be a good career. Mm-hmm. If I could just figure out how to pass the test.
Details.
That was just this little detail that I had to struggle with.
Well, apparently you did.
Yeah.
But then when I first met you, it had nothing to do with real estate. It was about like immediately you start generating money, and it's not even like it takes a lot of real estate agents years to sort of start thinking about, well, how do I give back? Mm-hmm. But it was almost instant for you. Like you had some money, like I've got to give back, and you started doing this annual event, and tell us.
So real estate wasn't necessarily about how am I going to make income or anything like that. I'm really blessed and fortunate that my husband does well and takes care of us. So before I got this, real estate license, I started this kind of mom group of, hey, let's get together, let's lunch, let's find a common cause mm-hmm. and raise money for it. Well, when COVID happened, all the events got shut down. So I was trying to find a way of a career that I would love that would immediately help me give back. So it really wasn't like going into real estate to have this great career and
Screwed up.
Yeah.
No, now you have a great career.
Yeah, I mean, it was going into it with the intention of how to help.
Okay.
Not only help people, buy and sell and guide them through the real estate process, which I love, but giving back to this community, making sure it goes to somewhere that's in need for locals. And that was my biggest passion. And it kind of just started developing from there. And, just every time someone, buys and sells, 10% of my commission. I say 10% of my commission, but it always ends up being whatever God tells me to give them. But yeah, and then we had our Happy Mommy Hour, which is my nonprofit. And we did a huge event for actually
You started the nonprofits. This is your nonprofit.
Yes.
Yours.
So everything is tied together. So you've got my Happy Mommy Hour, which is my nonprofit, and then I call myself the Happy Mommy Realtor. It kind of goes in hand in hand. And so yeah, I started the nonprofit, and I do get people who reach out to me quite a bit. Whether they're, they've lost their wife, the mother of their children to, cancer, and just struggling on how to pay their bills. I've had people reach out to me about a child who's lost and, funeral expenses, a lot of medical bills, maybe just some things as groceries or Christmas gifts. But it was just trying to come up with the resources to help these people. And you need financial ability to be able to help everybody.
Right.
You can't just, pray and hope good dreams. You've got to have action. So yeah, they definitely tied hand in hand. But I did find out last year of a good friend of mine, and she's also an amazing real estate agent. And she just got hit with just a huge medical issue. She ended up having a tumor that was wrapped around her IVC cord. It was just awful. I mean, to the point where she before her surgery, had to say goodbye to her kids because she didn't know she was going to wake up. And we decided to do this great Christmas event for her. It was called this, Miracle at the Mercado. And we raised $25,000 on a Thursday night in December, right before Christmas.
Wow.
That's just what we have here. People here love our community and they love to give. It's something I see constantly.
They do, but it also takes someone with energy and a drive to coalesce that.
Yeah.
So we have a great community, don't get me wrong, but without someone's leadership or stewardship, that those things don't happen. So that's tremendous.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate that you do this in the community. But then you have this group. You help individuals. You help moms, families, everything else. And you decide, you know what? Now I'm going to help the nonprofits that are helping all these people. So we can't not talk about Blair It Out.
Okay, Blair It Out. I actually came up with the name Blair It Out. It's so funny. It's in my memories 20 years ago. Or I'd say 18 years ago. And kind of in my radio days. Mm-hmm. And I said something like on my page, get ready, something's coming, and then I have Blair It Out. I did not know what it was going to be. Think 18 years later, let's do a podcast. And I totally conned my best friend into doing it. He was supposed to be a guest host. And I told him, hey.
Did you tell him, I really like your voice. Give me a commercial in 30 seconds.
I did.
Show up here at 8:30. And you're an intern.
And you're an intern because you don't get paid. Yeah, I totally did. I conned him in, and David is the opposite of me, more reserved, a little more shy. I mean, you won't really know it after you talk to him for 20 minutes, but he is a lot more we're the same, but very opposite. And so we were there and we just clicked, and we both kind of looked at each other and thought, yeah, this is going somewhere. And then we started getting one local nonprofit after the other, and the stories that they're telling, and especially in the world we live in right now, where there is so much uncertainty, and we're in the real estate business. A lot of people are struggling. How do I afford these things? There's just so many questions out there, and I wanted to be the source of the source, kind of like in real estate, right?
Sure.
You want to be the source of the source. And what a better way to get the nonprofits on and tell their story, because you may know of, hey, my passion is helping animals, or my passion is helping children in need. Like, you name a passion, we have it. But sometimes you don't know where that source is.
Right.
You don't know what they actually do or why they decided to start what they started. So to get these amazing humans in the chair and tell you the beginnings of the why or the struggle they went through to see the triumph of where they are at now, it's inspiring.
It's inspiring. It like goosebumps when someone's willing to share their story with you. I've had that podcast done for a while, in that someone takes their time to come in, they share their story, and they're candid and honest, and just it's like it's hard to explain. It's like an adrenaline rush that you get to be the one that they tell them.
Oh yeah, and it's a privilege that they feel safe around you, and that you're not going to take their story and try to capitalize on it or make it in a negative way.
Right, it's their story.
It's their story, and we're very good at. We always ask, hey, is there anything off the table? Mm-hmm. Sometimes people are like, please, let's not talk about this. Let's talk about this. So I'm just there to kind of guide them.
So you just record that separately so you can blackmail them?
Pretty much.
Okay, good.
Like,
good. That's podcasting 101.
Exactly.
Is the hot mic.
And then I give them my real estate card. I'm like, if you don't use this.
It's a whole new business model right there.
Exactly, for sure.
Happy Mommy Realty just became blackmail realty.
Everyone's gonna be like, yeah, that's what I heard.
I'm giving her a 5-star review because I have to. I literally have to.
Could you imagine that in the reviews? I have to give her 5 stars. She is amazing. Wink, wink.
So you treat them with respect.
Oh, yeah.
It's about them telling their story.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what's hard, right? Being in this chair and you're interviewing people, is where are your places to speak and ask questions, and then also the gift of listening. Mm-hmm. How amazing it is when you just ask a simple question like, how'd you get here? What's your why? And being able to sit back and really just listen to what their story is. Not making it your story, but really just listening to their story and how it's played out, and to see these, because there's always these up and downs, and for them to keep climbing up to the top and now helping so many other people.
But then you're also asking very good questions, because they're coming at it from a place of knowledge, because they know who they are and what they're doing. You're presenting the perspective of those of us that aren't familiar with their cause, and getting them to kind of go further down that path and really connect with the people in the community. So I think that's a really good way to do that.
I mean, the honor is all mine, just having people who have just created something out of something. I would say creating beauty out of something that could be ugly.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate get.
There's so many times when I just want to curl up in a ball because I'm just having a rough day, and those people that have had so much more challenges, they not only not curl up in a ball, but they turn around and help other people, go through. It's just amazing to me.
You're not seeing them crawl up in a ball and get out, right? I think, to be fair, we've all hit that bottom. And maybe you're not aware of it at that time, or maybe you're in the ball at that moment. But then when you see other people, claw their way out, and it's contagious in a way.
Very contagious.
Yeah.
And it just stops that immediate sort of, woe is me sort of feeling. Excuse me.
I've always hated it when people get mad about people sharing their giving. It's a lot of people are like, don't post that, or that's attention seeking. To me, I'm the opposite. I'm like, share. Obviously, there's some things that were, you're don't film somebody who's vulnerable, Right. There's those things that I'm like, hey, it's not everything needs to be posted for a share or a like. But when you put that out there of your excitement to help and give, and saying, hey, this nonprofit's doing this, or I want to just make somebody's day, will you do the same? I love that. Mm-hmm. It's so contagious. And I think people need to not be so worried about what the little minds think. I think go bigger, go and help.
I was giving blood, and at the end, when I'm eating my Nutter Butters, they give you a little sticker that says, I donated.
Yeah.
And I remember, and there's this gentleman, fairly senior gentleman, and he hands me the sticker, and I was like, oh, that's okay, I don't need the sticker. And he looks at me and goes, oh, you misunderstand. This isn't for you. This is for everybody else that needs to know they need to give blood.
Yeah.
So you're not bragging.
Exactly.
You're advertising for us.
Yeah, I think there's this weird line, right, of being humble, but then also being obedient. And I think we can sometimes mix the two.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember when I first got into this business, right? I mean, I got my real estate license and was immediately, hey, let's do this to give. Let's do this to give. And I would get feedback. Oh, you're just doing that for a sale. You're doing that for attention. I don't care either way. My goal is to help.
Right.
And if you want to, ridicule me for that, then don't use me, But if you know me and you know my heart, this is just who I am. Mm-hmm. And people will see the difference of, are you just doing this to brag and, get it out there? But at the end of the day, if you're helping, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're doing it to try to get more clients or if you're doing it because that's what's really big in your heart. Either way, you're helping somebody.
Yeah. I like that idea of contagious,
mm-hmm.
and how that feels like we get caught up in a vacuum sometimes.
Yeah.
And then other people aren't. They get caught up in their own vacuum. So you're breaking that down and you're blaring it out.
I'm blaring it out.
Okay, I tied that all in together. Our producer behind the screens here, Lisa, is crying. This is so emotional.
I am, because I know it's so true. She's so good. Can I tell my story? One day we're stuffing bags or something at TAR, and I'm telling her how my niece has cancer. And, I'm just like devastated. She's pregnant and they just found this huge tumor. And just talk. Blair's my friend, and it was just talk, and we were just having a conversation. And then a couple of weeks later, she calls me up and she says, I have a check for you. And I'm like, oh, what for? Are you sponsoring something at TAR? And she goes, no, it's for your niece. She says, I got one of my clients I told one of my clients your story, and she decided to make that her charity. So I have a check for your niece. That's why I love Blair.
Oh, well, I love you. And honestly, thanks to my clients, all have the same heart. And I just give them the list. Now doing Blair It Out, I'm getting a bigger list. But my goal also, too, is to give back to as many individuals as possible. That's why I created my nonprofit, to help be able to do that. But there's just so much. I've been through hard times. I've been through where I was on the ground in a ball. I thought there was no way out. I thought I wasn't worth saving. I thought I wasn't worth anybody coming to my rescue. There was a lot of decisions that were made in those low times that I know if somebody would have just reached out to me and helped me, I probably would have done a lot of things different. So when I hear people at the lowest, or it just feels the world is caving in, just give that little bit of hope. It changes things. It makes our minds are so powerful. So if you all of a sudden have going through this dark spot and you feel loved and supported, you get filled with this light and motivation to keep you going. And then you help others once you've gotten out of it, because you remember that feeling of feeling hopeless and somebody being your hope. It's what I think can make you keep going.
That's absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you. How do people find you? Are they Blair It Out? Oh
my gosh, this is one thing I do need help with, guys. I'm like all over the place just because of real estate, the nonprofit. So I am trying to get different websites for different things. But yeah, if you want to listen to the podcast, it's Blair It Out. You can find it on Apple, Spotify, Buzzsprout, our YouTube channel, which I think I get like 30 views. I'm still figuring that out.
30. Fancy.
I was so excited. I'm like, ooh, look at that. It's 100 downloads. I was so excited because it takes time.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'd say YouTube, podcast. I'm all over all the social medias. So
Under your name or under?
So Happy Mommy Hour is a big one. So Happy Mommy Hour is on Instagram. Happy Mommy Realtor is on Instagram, and so is Blaired Out. My TikTok is Happy Mommy Hour. And you can always find me on Facebook at Blair Lometti Matthias. I mean, I just need to find somebody who's going to kind of like help guide me. But, you know, we all have our weaknesses. And that one's mine.
Good heavens. Well, you can probably have a chance to talk to Blair in the 13 or 14 minutes a day she's not doing something else, but you can reach out to her. And you're still doing real estate too, right?
I mean, I love it. It is for now, the first like feeling what clients are feeling. And because I did buy an investment last year, but now we are wanting to move. And everyone knows how hot the Oro Valley market is. It's insane. Some people are, hey, my house is sitting for some odd reason. Some of these houses just fly. And now it's like trying to find one. Because even us realtors can lose an offer to cash too.
Well, I'm glad you're still doing real estate. I appreciate all that you're doing within the community, not just on a large scale, but on the individual basis as well. And I hope you hear this enough, but you're doing amazing things, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's all I can ask for.
And this show today was a special show produced by Lisa. It was making sure everything is on track. And if you want to learn more, just stay in tune for Housing for Good. We'll have a website up soon and interview just amazing people doing wonderful things in our community. And it's all powered and fueled by your trust and faith in them as real estate agents. So let's keep it going.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.